If you leverage AI, robotic process automation, and outsourcing, it's quite easy to do what one person could do in a year in a month. The people with the most to sell the most.
There is something seriously wrong with you.
I can help you get 12 times the sales. So Emma is kind of,
He's great at spending money. If more than 60% of your revenue comes from one traffic source, you've built a house of cards, and your entire business structure can fall apart at any moment, because
I swear
most people have one traffic source.
And the biggest overlooked traffic source that I ever see in any of these businesses is, if you'll do these few things, I mean, it's quite easy to build your monthly income to be the equivalent of what your yearly income is now. Why do you keep distracting me? Number one, welcome back to the Trainwreck Show, the most entertaining podcast about marketing, business growth, operations, all that crap you need to run a business. I'm Perry Belcher. I'm the unstoppable force of growth, here with the Wizard of Ops and the unstoppable, the immovable object of operations. Emma Rainville. This is where we kind of crash between growth and operations, because it takes both to run a business. As you
growth.
Well know. She says operations is growth, but she says a lot of things. You'll learn that over time. What are we going to talk about today, Emma? How you doing?
Good. I'm super excited because for our first day of filming the podcast, we're going to talk about one.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew over here.
I'm pretty sure it's meth, but and you are from Kentucky.
When you see that girl standing next to you and you go, I want you to meet my wife and my sister, and there's just one girl there. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Staying on topic for a change, Perry. Today we're going to be talking about one of the newer concepts that we've been wrestling around with and that we've been placing into each of our businesses. And that is 1 year a month. And it's actually quite a brilliant concept. You came up with it some time ago. I'd love to just explore that for people and just walk us through the concept, what it means to you, and then how we're implementing it.
Yeah, it really, weirdly enough, I've been doing this for...
And I'll sit here just so people can tolerate
just
listening.
Just some eye candy?
Well, it's a podcast, so it's, audio.
If it's audio. She looks really good on audio. I'm telling you guys, she really does. This is something I've been doing for a really long time, actually, without really knowing that was intentional about it.
Right.
But I've not had a business that didn't produce at least 6 figures a month in revenue in 12 years, right? Where most people are looking at, $100,000 a year, $10,000 a month being their goal. There's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to do a year's worth of income in a month. There really isn't. But it takes a little bit of thought, and it's a lot about math. My old mentor, Dan Kennedy, said this whole business is about two things: mathematics and emotions. And this one's a lot more about math than it is about emotions, but we'll get to emotions in other episodes and talking about things like primal offers and stuff like that. But
I thought you were talking about your emotional nightmare. As you get older, you've been getting quite dementia, early onset dementia, the emotional, what's the malapause?
Malapause? Am I getting malapause? I might be getting malapause. Hell, it happens.
Yeah.
So we were doing an episode the other day for the Ignite Mastermind call, and we were talking about this very concept, because our goal over there is to grow these people from $0 to $1 million in their first year. And really, it made me sit down and start writing a book. So I'm writing another book that I'll probably never publish. Like, I don't publish half the books that I've written, but I got them sitting back. One day I'm going to do this when I get old, But the book is called 1 year a month, and people are really digging the concept. Right. So it really is a lot about math. When you start building out the idea, number one, getting in your head that you can do a year's worth of income in a month is probably really the biggest hurdle.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
The way we work, the way Emma works, the way I work, most people would not want our lives.
No, most people look at our lives and think, what did one of our staff say? I want to be a CEO like you and Perry so that I don't have to work.
I don't have to work so much. Yeah. And nothing could be farther from the truth. Be careful what you wish for, because you might get it, right?
Right.
If you do what I'm about to tell you to do, you're almost mathematically certain to be able to accomplish that goal.
Right.
You really, really are. But takes a lot of work. But I'm going to talk at the end about how to automate
work,
some of
that. Or
that.
does it take dedication? Because dedication, right?
It takes strategy. Number one, it takes a mental openness to do it.
Right.
Number one, it takes a mental openness to do it. Number two, it takes strategy. Number three, it takes dedication, discipline.
Right. I have to be more willing to learn than being right.
Yeah. It's which is really hard for her because she really freaking loves being right. I'm telling you. I think
it's not my fault.
Donald Trump likes being right less than Emma Rainville likes.
I don't think that that's true. I think I'm just always right because I'm always around you.
See?
Right.
Wait. That wasn't a compliment, was it?
No.
It wasn't.
No.
Shit.
No.
I thought it was a compliment for a minute.
No.
I should have known better. All right. So let's dive into this thing. Is that cool? Okay. So really, there are 6 things when I bring a client in at a private day or whatever, like our driven people come in for private days every now and then where they're stuck in their business. And when I bring a client in, the very first thing that we do is look at these 6 elements in their business. How many products do you have? How many markets are you selling to? How many offers are you making? What methods are you selling by? What are your traffic sources and where are you selling stuff? Right. And generally speaking, almost everybody in this business at best has a 1 at the top of each one of those columns. They're selling one thing, one way to one market with one traffic source, one offer in one geographic location. And honestly, all I have to do is put a 2 at the top of each of those columns and the growth is exponential. I'll give you the real math in a minute, but for you guys who are math nerds out there, you've already figured out it's way more than 12. Right. So all you're trying to do in this exercise is get to 12 times your monthly income, right? You're trying to get your monthly income to 12 times what it was. Now, how efficiently you run your business, I can help you get 12 times the sales. I promise you I can do that. I'll be 12 times the revenue. I'm terrible at keeping money.
Right.
So Emma is kind of,
He's great at spending money.
She's kind of sort of right. Oh, she can spend money. She's got a black belt in shopping, but I don't care about the money. It's just the sales to me are the score. Somebody else needs to figure out how to keep it.
It's more someone else needs to figure out how to. There's a couple things. One, how to adjust what you're trying to sell without hurting the conversion, but making it profitable. Yeah. It's 2, delivering it effectively, efficiently in the sales to delivery process so that you can keep the money and the person doesn't refund or that they continue to purchase off you. Some of the things that you sell, you have no intention of making money off of that thing.
You're so much softer on the show. You got like this show voice. Hi, this is Emma Rainville, and I'm actually a nice person.
Oh, wow. Fire me. Like, let's just break up right now.
There she is. I got to get under her skin a little bit. Don't worry. We'll get there. So let's go through the 6 things. Is that cool? Because this actually will be a fairly short episode, I think. I don't think it'll be that long.
I don't think you can do anything in a fairly reasonable amount of time.
That's right, baby.
Except for that.
Daddy takes a long time to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, number 1.
There's something seriously wrong with you.
There's a lot wrong with me.
Right.
So, number 1, write this down. Here's a writer downer. The people with the most to sell the most. That's a fact. If you look at any large business, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's in, I call it our industry, which I really don't think we have an industry. I think marketing industry is not really an industry. But if you look at people in this business kind of look up to, the Grant Cardones of the world, or the, I don't know who else.
You got to come up with somebody
Tony
else.
Robbins, people like that. So they have a lot of stuff to sell. They have a lot of product offerings, right? The people who aren't selling much sell one thing. And the real booger bitch of that is they sell it until it's dead. I mean, DED, dead. They don't let it have any, then they think about what their next offer is going to be. Once they've exhausted that offer and it totally doesn't work anymore, there's nothing in a hopper, then they freak out, panic, go broke. I had a marketer in this business, I can tell you, call me about a year ago. Hey, man, our offer's kind of not working. And, I broke up with my partner and I just need a little bit, I'm trying to just get back on my feet and get things going again. And, I was calling to see if you had some little something, I could do. I just need like $100,000 a month or something to kind of keep my bills paid. I'm like, what the fuck? Who has $100,000 a month worth of bills? Number one, if you're no, I don't have. I do not. My personal burn.
Your personal is not.
My personal burn is low. I got rid of the Rolls Royce and the Ferrari and the 4 ex-wives and all the other stuff. So I'm living
4 or 5.
I'm living. 5. It doesn't matter. Let's not get the numbers.
Right.
But I'm living a stripped down life right now, for the lack of a better term. But I'm building that back up. I think I do miss my shiny cars and some other stuff, because and with all the driven people, I got to keep appearances up. I got people paying me, $30,000-$40,000 a year to learn. I gotta have a fancy car to drive, or
I need them how to blow it instead of how to keep it.
This is my garage.
Makes sense.
I've got a Ferrari in my garage, a Lamborghini. You know why? Because all the books I have in my library.
This is why they picked me to get on the one-on-one calls with.
Anyway, all right. So number one. So let's get back to why do you keep distracting me? Number one, have more products to sell. If you're selling a product now, guess what? That ain't the only product your customer's buying, right? Even if you're, you could be in a sideways market. When somebody's buying financial advice, they ain't always financialing. When somebody's buying survival products, they're not always survivaling. They do other things. Those people buy auto insurance, they buy groceries, they buy other things. Whether it's related to your business or not, it kind of doesn't matter. One of my favorite quotes is by getting Brad Goss. He says, not everybody that buys laundry detergent watches porn, but everybody that watches porn buys laundry detergent. So there are things that people do, right? So number one, have more products, right? If there are contemporaries in your marketplace selling other products to your audience, especially if you're in the big markets, because the big markets are basically, health, money, and relationships. Those are always going to be the BSD markets, right? So you can never be too rich, too skinny, or too laid, I always say. So if you're selling, products that help people make money, I promise you're not the only person selling them a thing to help them make money. You could be offering that as well as them. And you can build up funnel and down funnel products. If you're selling to, for health, I mean, my God, if you believe in alternative health, you believe in alternative health. If you don't, you don't, right? So people that buy supplements have a drawer full of them. Right. They don't buy one, right? So you might as well have a lot of products. And same's true with relationships. If you got relationship problems, you're looking all over for advice, from dating to getting your ex back. Why the hell anybody would want to do that? I have no fucking idea. But there are guys that'll buy that sort of thing. To everything else, to business relationships with your kids, whatever. So they're buying all this stuff. So number one, have more products. Just literally build out a bigger catalog of products. And we're going to talk a little bit about AI and RPA and outsourcing and all the ways that you can get these products done for a lot less than you used to, and make money in the process. I never create a product that I don't get paid in advance to create that product, because we do live workshops and they convert on average 20 times better than a pre-recorded product. So you get paid to do it. So why not have more products? If you're in the information space, if you're in supplements, it's pretty easy to formulate a new product. If you're in physical products and gear, you can test out stuff by drop shipping. There's all kinds of ways to do it. So number one, have more products. Any problems with that?
Nope.
Wow. That's a first. 2, have more markets, right? So a lot of people are selling to one market. If you're, if you're offering your product to only one market, you're always missing out. There are always adjacent markets for you to sell to. If you can take a product that you've done on, let's say, how to be a real estate drone pilot, now you can sell that to people who were pilots, right? They want to be pilots or were pilots. Now you can go sell that to real estate agents that are failing real estate agents, or you can go sell that to people who are just gadget nerds, right, or RC airplane flyers or hobbyists, right? So there's different markets to sell that product to. And every market's going to require a slightly different offer. You can keep the core offer, right? You can keep the core offer. We've got people like right now in Ignite, give me an example. Brian, one of our guys in Ignite, he's got an amazing newsletter business that he started Key West, Florida. So it's real easy for him now to take that Key West formula that he's got and take it to Colorado Springs for skiers, or
Right.
take it to Laguna Beach for surfers, or whatever. So there's all kinds of markets. Once you've developed a product, you can slightly adjust that product to fit another market. The more markets you open up, the more opportunities you have. So think about that right there. If you have 2 products instead of 1, you've just doubled your business, chances are. If you have 2 markets to sell them to, right, you just 4X that business in just the first step. You follow? So that's kind of the way the math accumulates. And then you go to offers, right? What kind of offers are you making? People respond differently to different offers. Some people will respond really quickly to a positive offer. Like, look at everything you're going to get. Life's going to be nirvana. Life's going to be wonderful. Just sign on the dotted line, right? Most people will go for that. The truth is that negative offers typically outperform positive offers, but most people don't run negative offers. If you look at a company like Agora Publishing that does financial newsletters, $1.5 billion a year, they've never ran a positive offer in the history of the company. It's always doom and gloom, the sky's falling. It sells.
It sells easily.
Yeah, if it bleeds, it leads, man.
Right, 100%.
If you don't
Positivity takes a lot of work and testing to get working.
Yeah,
Fear
all the time
will just work instantly.
A rider downer for you: the fear of loss will always outstrip the desire to succeed. It always will. People will do anything to not lose what they already have. They'll hold on to it for dear life. There's a story I read.
Even when they should lose it.
Even when they should lose it. Most of the time they need to lose it so they can break. When we do breaking points, the whole thing of the breaking point exercise of the house is, we got to break this in order to fix it. Most people won't. We do this thing at my house called breaking point that I got this idea from Jack Roush. You have to bring me back to where I was. But I got this idea from this guy named Jack Roush that builds the fastest race car engines in the world, right? And he's been doing it for 40 years. Nobody can beat him. And they ask him, how do you build an engine so much better than everybody else's engine? Why hadn't anybody been able to catch up? And he said his answer was really good. He says, really older guy now, maybe close to 80. But he said, well, we just build the best engine that we know how to build. And then we start it up on the block. We press the gas to the accelerator with a brick, and we go to lunch. And by the time we get back, the engine's blown up, and we take it apart and figure out where it blew up, right? And we fortify that part. And then we put it all back together again. We build another engine. We put it on the block, run it till it blows up. And then we do that over and over and over again until we can't break the engine. And he said, why don't you think everybody else does that? And he says, because everybody else is afraid to break what they already got.
Right.
And boy, it was a hell of a lesson. So we bring people into the house now that already have successful businesses, breaking points for people already doing over $1 million a year. We bring them in the house and we just tear them apart. And I'll tell you, it's harder to get them to break than it is to get the newbie to break.
Yeah.
Because the newbie hadn't gained a lot yet. The person doing $7, $8, $10 million, they're holding on to that like a baby chick. They're never.
You would think it would be super opposite.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, the baby hasn't had any proof of concept.
Right.
And you can't prove them wrong. So their idea is the smartest idea.
Right.
But then this person has actually been living in the pain. We see them come walking bleeding every time.
Yeah.
And they're living in the pain of fires, of operations,
mediocrity.
of mediocrity, of not being able to push things out.
Yeah.
And they fight and fight and fight. If we've seen it over and over again, they want to fight you that they're right. And you're like, okay, well then go keep doing what you've been doing.
What you're doing,
But don't cry that you've hit a ceiling. Don't cry that you can't do it. We have to untangle it in order to rebuild it.
That's the definition of insanity.
Right.
You keep doing what you're doing. You're
expecting a different
result. You're not going to get one.
I'm going to bring you back.
It's offers, right? So we were still on offers. So you different
positivity versus
you've got different offers too. You got positive offers versus negative offers. If you've got a positive offers working right now, the first thing I would always test is a negative offer. I watched Charlie Munger talk about how he thought through companies. He said, if somebody came in and said, how do I fix a company? He said, I invert it. I think about all the ways I could hurt Coca-Cola. Mm. And then I figure out ways to keep that from happening. And he had an inversion method. But these negative offers, they appeal differently. I mean, if you watch presidential politics right now, you're seeing it. Negative offers are outperforming positive offers in presidential politics, and they just keep doing it over and over and over again. And the other side goes,
what do you think about the younger demographic on that, though? This is probably a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast. But the younger demographic, the Gen Z, the ones that are just now buying into the market, do you think that it's going to be the same with them?
Yeah, because they just hadn't had the shit beat out of them in life yet. Okay. So life is just...
Life hasn't happened at all for them yet.
No,
They're clueless.
Life is an exercise of getting the shit beat out of you.
Right.
Right. And that teaches you lessons and keeps you down, so to speak. So, I don't think I think, you have wide-eyed optimism when you're 17 years old. When you're in Berkeley on daddy's dime at 19.
I don't think any of them are going to Berkeley. I think they're just going to sit home with their hair buns and...
I don't know. I can't figure that generation out, but I guess I probably wasn't a whole lot different. You probably weren't either. I don't know. Some of us had to grow
I think we were a whole lot different. I think we worked really hard.
Faster.
Yeah, I think we worked really, really hard. So my generation, which is way, way, way after yours, I still think that we had the same amount of work ethic because we were raised by your generation.
I don't know, man. Everybody in my family is still poor.
I think that there's a difference between hard work and poor. So it's poor thinking generates poor people.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't work hard. Poor doesn't mean lazy.
Yeah.
It just means stupid.
So back to offers. For you poor, hardworking, stupid
we might
people
want to edit that out.
Yeah. Nah, we ain't editing shit on this thing. So there's other kinds of offers too. So basically you're going to have community offers. Like we have the Ignite offer. That's a community offer. So we have a lot of community offers. We have a entry-level community offer, a mid-level community offer, a high-level community offer that's driven. So these people just escalate communities. So you can make an offer for people to join a community. By the way, a lot of people will respond to that offer because you got different brain chemicals going on. You got oxytocin, serotonin. Oxytocin is the belonging chemical. So if you're a person who digs, wants to be a part of a community, yeah, it's going to fire to oxytocin.
Yeah.
If it's something that's like get rich quick stuff or get skinny quick or get laid quick, that's going to go to people who have heavy dopamine receptors. So you've got, and then you got serotonin that's all status, right? So you can make community offers. You can make status offers. You can make gain offers. You can make fear offers. You can make high ticket offers. Like for instance, I was talking backstage. I spoke at keynote Russell Brunson's thing.
It's called
funnel hacking.
There you go, Papa.
There you go.
You remembered.
I was ahead on 1972. So I was doing that, and I hadn't got to see Dan Kennedy in a long time. He'd been ill, and we hung out backstage for almost 4 hours and just talked. We have great conversations. A great guy, and he turned me on to a concept. We were talking about how low ticket offers repel high ticket buyers, and because I do a lot, I'm the king of the low ticket offer, right? Low ticket and work them up. He said, your thing's great, but you always need an express lane. Every offer needs an express lane because there's going to be that guy or gal that comes on that's running a $10 million business. They're not going to go through the cycle of your offer. They're not going to buy your ebook and then go listen to your 3-hour course and then go to your whatever. They're not going to do none of that shit. They just want to know, okay, I get it. You can deliver this result to me. How do I pay you and get the result? Right. So the express lane offer. So the kinds of offers that you make, there's a variety of offers that you can make to people. So again, that's the third box, right? So that's the third column, right? How many offers are you making? Are you only making a low ticket offer? Are you only making a mid-range offer? Are you only making a book a call offer? Are you only making, whatever the kind of offer that you're making is, is it low, medium, or low, middle, or high, right? Is it negative or positive? And that's kind of it. Low ticket or low, medium, or high, positive, negative. And then you go to the fourth column, which are methods. So people buy different methods. Some people will buy reading a long form sales letter. Some people will buy watching a VSL. Some people will buy because they'll respond to something on a podcast, right? Because they got to spend more time with you. And we'll talk about that. We're doing an episode on 7-11-4, I think. So we'll talk about that. So they'll respond buy a, Jason Fladland, buy a webinar, but Jason, and I give Jason hell about this all the time. And he gives me hell about my tripwire offers all the time. Because whatever worked for you in the past tends to become your go-to.
Right.
It tends to be the thing you always go back to solve a problem when you have one. When I have a problem and I got an offer I need to work, I'm going to build an offer with a tripwire, right? Well, I've kind of changed that now. Now I'm doing live workshop offers and they're killing, right? So much better than the tripwire because traffic monies have changed and things like that. Tripwire is still working, depends on the market. But the point is, if you're stuck in one and that particular thing happens to fall out of vogue, you're screwed, right? So again, multiple products, multiple markets, multiple offers, and multiple methods. Because people will buy, I would never set on a 2.5-hour webinar to buy a product. I've never done it in my life. Not one time.
There's a lot of people who do.
I've sold on them.
Yeah. I would also, by the way, never, I couldn't, if I can't listen to it at 2 times the speed and read it and be.
She listens to TikTok in the morning at 2 times speed. It's the most annoying shit TikTok. I've ever seen.
I don't watch, or
Instagram or whatever it is you're going through.
I'm going through our ads on Reels.
No bullshit. You're going through shorts, listen to fucking trash talk shit. I hear it. The Kardashians say that.
I have never in my life watched the Kardashians.
Anyway, okay.
That's what you do when you watch the Kardashians, but that's not what I'm doing.
So methods matter, right? It's just like when we talk about content, some people absorb content by audio, some people absorb it by video, some people read,
right?
So if you don't hit all those medium, you're going to block out a certain portion of your audience.
That's such a great, that's a really, really great point. And I just want to home in on that for a minute. Like if you look at the, just like look at our small group.
Yeah.
You listen to Audible.
I love audio. It's my favorite form of learning.
Cossum has to read.
Mm-hmm.
I can't read or listen to Audible. I'm too ADD. I'm too nuts. I read the book while I listen to it at 2.5 to 1.5. I'm sorry, 1.5 to 1.7 the speed. And I remember all of it. But different people consume in different ways. And having it available for Sokka will watch the video. He has to have the visual as well. So having it available in whatever platform people are going to consume it in, that they're going to learn from it and actually comprehend is
and dude, I'm telling
important.
You, people made real big mistakes. Like right now, teleseminars are working again. Like a champ.
Crazy. Crazy, by the way.
Audiobooks are killing it because the average person, by the way, watches a video. I think I'm probably going to paraphrase these numbers wrong, but the average person
definitely going to get all of the numbers
watches a video for about 7 minutes, listens to a podcast for about 14 minutes, I think it is, listens to an audiobook, an hour, 25 minutes.
But are they listening? Or is it playing while they're thinking about 10 of the things? And that's the thing. And that's the thing.
But you can absorb audio in the gym. You can absorb it while you're cooking. You can absorb it in the car. You can do a lot of things you can't do with video.
I think also this is why a lot of people listen to the same audiobook 3, 4, and 5 times. Yeah.
Probably. Jason would make the argument that, but when I've got them on the video, I got them. And they're locked in and zoned and all that. But
listen, just because it's definitely true. The guy is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason you picked him to be your partner in Driven, right?
He's made a couple dollars.
He's figured some things out. But just because you and I won't buy doesn't mean there aren't 300 million people out of the 7 billion on the planet that wouldn't.
Old home bedridden shut-ins.
I mean, have you seen the content of his webinar?
Oh, I know, man.
I know it blows my mind that anybody buys. It really does. It blows my mind. But every time I need to do a webinar, I don't go to you. I go to Jason because he figured out.
He's like the vacuum cleaner salesman that won't leave the house till you buy the vacuum too. That fucking thing. Goodness. Those things go on for effing ever.
100%.
Ever. It's like
I always thought it's so funny you said that. The first conversation, remember the day that he said, "Oh, I always thought you were a lesbian, Emma." Do you remember that? He said that to me in Vegas.
That's not the first time somebody said that to you. Surely.
I mean, it's not the first time someone said that to me. But do you remember when he said that to me? He was sitting on the couch. The first thing I thought was, I wanted to say, and I didn't because I wanted to be more respectful than that. I was thinking, I bet he learned how to sell from Rainbow. Remember those rainbow vacuums?
Dude,
that dude that would spill shit all over your floor and then you had to let him clean it.
And they stay forever.
They stayed forever.
They had a training line. I knew somebody was in that business. They had a training line in there. If somebody said, well, hey, we're about to have dinner. So, they'd say, oh man, I hadn't eaten all day. What do you got? They just stay for dinner, man.
My goodness.
You can't get rid of them. They're like
seriously.
They're like the
but
clap.
that's what I think about with. But let's move on. I don't want to get too. They're like the clap. Oh my god, that process late.
It shows my age right there. It's
yeah. I'm pretty sure there's immunizations.
It's not a venereal disease. It's the clap.
Isn't the clap a venereal
clap
disease?
on? Oh yeah. Whoop, yeah. Hold on.
I used to have those when I was a kid.
The clap.
The clappers.
Oh. Okay. So. Element number, where am I? I'm squinting here.
You were on methods, so next should be traffic.
Methods, traffic.
Oh, so I got it right. I got that right.
Yeah. So this is a giant thing for us. So in the survival business, we doubled our business in literally 30 days by opening up the YouTube channel, right? By opening YouTube as a traffic source. Right. So most people, I swear.
Most people have one traffic source.
And most people, it's Facebook. I swear to God.
And here's the problem with that. It isn't just about doubling for this, because this is where, like, as an operator, it gives me a lot of anxiety.
It's risk mitigation.
Right. A lot of you're building a house of cards. Facebook algorithms go down. Your media buyer that's been doing your stuff for a long time quits. His mother dies. He can't work this week. Yeah. Like, there's a gazillion things that can go wrong by having one source of traffic. And if more than and you don't want it to be this way for a growth perspective, but if more than 60% of your revenue comes from one traffic source, you've built a house of cards. You're probably putting out fires all the time, and your entire business structure can fall apart at any moment because it can scale very quickly. And a lot of people don't care because it's scaling. I've heard this many, many, many times. Do $1 million a month. Like, why do I need to find something else? Your bills on a company that's doing 7-8 million a month, even $1 million a month, your bills don't go away. Those bills stay. Those contracts stay. Those employees stay. All of that happens, and the traffic ends like that. Yep. And now you've went from being on the top of the world to screwed.
You know what else doesn't go away? Refunds and chargebacks.
100%.
So your chargeback 100%. Ratios go back.
Well, here's what happens is you're used to doing $1 million a month or 7 million a month or whatever it is, and it instantly drops, let's say even by 50%.
Here's a guy.
Well, kind of how we met, right?
Yeah.
But these things drop, and the amount of money that it costs you to get these refunds is pretty bad. But when you take it and put it against the amount of money that you're bringing in, the merchant accounts now get so nervous,
right,
and so concerned that then the small amount of profit that you have, they're holding because they're scared that you're not going to bring in enough money to be able to.
And all that's based on transactional volumes back. Too.
Yeah. All of it's transactional volume. So it's really important. I want you to go into the growth part, but I wanted to drop to drop the point that out of all of the ones that you talk about, the next one is the easiest to implement, but this one is the easiest to literally, people will think, I'll never go out of business. I have so much money. Everything's so great. That's the thing that'll do it.
Everybody enters a zero-sum game. So a lot of people all see, we did YouTube and we did Google and we did whatever, but we didn't make as much money.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Who cares? It doesn't matter.
You made some money.
It doesn't matter.
It's a zero-sum game with traffic. Either you're making money or you're not.
Right.
And you're when you get into it, you've got
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, really. Right now, you've got Facebook, YouTube, Google, TikTok. For paid, that kind of makes up most paid. But then you've got organic, which, by the way, organic SEO ain't going away. If in our business, in the survival business, we had a time where we couldn't buy traffic for 4 months. Last election cycle, basically blocked out anybody's traffic that was anything to do with political, like ours was, for 4.5 months. We were so screwed. Had we not been getting 200 million organic visitors a year, we'd have went out of business.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was before it was easy.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. It's
so
become a lot easier.
A lot easier now. Newsletters, direct response. Buying solo mails. The biggest overlooked traffic source that I ever see in any of these businesses is affiliates. It's an either or. Either a business is completely built on affiliates and they don't buy any paid media.
Right. Which is nuts.
or it's completely built on paid media and they don't have any affiliates, which is double nuts.
Right.
So that affiliate channel can be a third or half of your revenue, and it's the lowest risk portion of your revenue. But I see people all the time. They're like, I had somebody in not too long ago. It's like, do you have an affiliate program? Yeah, we got one. It didn't do very well. Okay, cool. So tell me about it. Well, we pay 20% affiliate commission. Okay. How much does it take you to acquire a buyer with paid traffic? Oh, we're a little better than break even. So your 70%.
It's so crazy.
Your 70% media cost.
It's all of them.
Right. But you're only willing to pay an affiliate 20 or 30% who's taking all the risk.
Of the day one, who's taking all the risk.
Yeah.
And of the day one.
It's idiotic.
Idiotic.
You could scale so quickly with affiliates and affiliate platforms. If you look at most
particularly if you have a good back end offer.
Yeah. If you look at the companies that are really doing multi-millions per month, the vast majority of them, a lot of that money is coming from their affiliate programs. Because affiliates are going to be able to go out and find crevices and holes in the traffic landscape that you'll never find. Right. Because they specialize in those things. So, but traffic is like the easiest lever. So what most people will do, they'll skip what we were talking about, offers and methods and markets, and they'll just go to, well, I'll just buy more traffic in a different place, which will work, but it won't give you that stacking effect that we're getting here, And then lastly is geo.
Easiest one
in the world. You depending on what you're selling, the world is shrinking. There are fulfillment centers all over the world now that will fulfill for you. If you're shipping drop ship products, which a lot of our stuff comes straight out of China. They don't care where they're shipping. It can go anywhere in the world. If you're selling digital, with AI and RPA, language is no longer a barrier. Support's not a barrier. There's support functions. If a friend of mine, Brad Sugar, is a really, really smart guy. He owns a bunch of businesses. He does $300-400 million a year, and people pitch him all the time on ideas. And one of his first questions when the business comes in and pitching him looking for money, he says, "Great, you sounds good. What's your strategy on India?" And they just freeze.
Of course they do. They don't think.
It's the fastest growing market in the world.
Right.
It's the fastest growing economic.
They're about to supersede China in population
development
as well.
Market in the world. We in the United States, particularly, you may be watching this in the United States or not, but in the United States, I guess we just think through the big swinging dicks of the world and nothing else matters.
Right. We do consume a lot in the U.S., but there's a lot more out there.
But only about 9% of the world's gross domestic product. So
I don't know that it's 9, but
you're leaving out.
Fact check.
Let's say 80 to 90%.
He gets his numbers right about as often as Trump. But they're ballpark usually.
Nothing wrong with my hands. Huge.
Just like your brain. But I want to just.
But Geo's so even Canada. So many people don't buy traffic in freaking Canada.
Canada.
Like, well, they got the VAT tax up there. So, I don't want to pay that
crazy.
Tax. I don't want to pay.
I worked on a product a couple of years ago when I first started exploring getting into different geos because I thought it would be so difficult. And a couple of quick things. One, we worked with Chris Encarnacion from VSL Ads. I went to him. We were challenged with, how do I take this? It was an info product in the fitness space. How do I take this and how do I make it so that other markets will want to buy it? And so we identified a couple things. Number one, it's really easy in your marketing, even if you have VSLs, to take and speak in their currency instead of your currency, which will convert way, way, way higher. Another thing is there are words that we use in the United States that other countries, even other English-speaking countries, don't use, like pounds versus kilometers.
Gosh, we had
there we go.
Sarah Blakely come in and speak to one of our groups not long ago. And she tells a story about going on to British radio and talking about how Spanx make your fanny smaller. And the Brits call your fanny is your vagina.
Oh, wow.
And she did it on
I bet it sold like crazy.
On a national radio. Hell, I would be a buyer,
I mean, if you can make that go like this. Anyway.
If you can make that go like this.
But if you can speak their language, their lingo, that's number one. Number two, currency actually is not hard to figure out. If you can process in their currency.
You usually get more money
You get a lot more money. You keep a lot. This is the upside, right? So you can go sell, but it does cost you more money to sell those people. My point is, it's actually really easy to get your conversion rates a lot higher because of using their lingo and their currency, and then processing in their currency.
With some exceptions, traffic is usually lower.
That's what I was going to say. It's considerably lower. Philippines is considerably lower. They absolutely consume and buy. Yeah. The Philippines makes up, oh God, I had this the other day. I think it's 18% of the labor market in the United States comes out of the Philippines.
That makes sense.
And so they're watching all of our stuff. They're consuming as well. South Africa.
They're getting Americanized.
Right. South Africa, India, like Thailand, all of these places are buying our products. So why not put it in front of them?
Yeah.
And then where will you go? So I love the geo one because it's the easiest one to implement. I just want to go back for a second because we've got products, markets, offers, methods, traffic, geos.
Yeah.
So for the average person who's listening, right, you and I are very, very good at talking about in high level, and then, okay, you paint the target and I got the arrow and I know how to shoot at it. But if I'm someone listening who necessarily doesn't have that duo of ops, sales, marketing, growth, explosive, strategic work, do I go and do one at a time? Do I have to go and put one in each box right this minute? What is your methodology of placing that to not implode a business whose resources may already be thin?
Yeah. So it's a great question. So one of the things that we did, by the way, if you put a 2 in front of each of those columns, it comes out to a 64x of the business.
Anyone with a half a brain could do that math.
So but
there are half of the people listening to us.
Yeah.
Because,
so our goal was to only
going, wait, that's 4.
Our goal was only to get to a 12x.
Right.
So we've given you overkill, right? So if you screw some of these up,
no big deal.
It's still going to be okay. I don't know that one over prioritizes another. I think it really comes down to what you feel like you can get done.
Right. What's your low hanging fruit? Right. What's your biggest home run based upon the resources you have?
Yeah. And one of the things I did, if you go to the show notes for the show for Trainwreck, I love Trainwreck as a name because we are a Trainwreck. But trainwreckshow.com/1 year. If you go there, there'll be show notes for this. And I've created a GPT, a custom GPT.
Well, the show notes are in the podcast. The podcast team puts the show notes right in the podcast.
Well, that's wonderful too. So, so if you're watching this, go look below. If you're listening to this, I don't know what the hell you do. If not, you go. If
you're in your car and you get home later on, go to
trainwreckshow.com/1 year. And there'll be a Google Doc there. It's got all the show notes in it. And there'll also be a custom GPT, a chat GPT, custom GPT in there where you can enter in your market and it's going to tell you how to adjust your product for all 6 of those things.
This is one of the things that we try to do for all of our podcasts, right? In the show notes, add in a GPT that's custom by Perry that will help you accomplish whatever it is.
Yeah. That's what we use.
Right. But it's custom by Perry. It will help you work through the execution of what we talk about. It's really easy to talk about strategic ideas and overall concepts. It's really hard to implement them and execute them in your business. That's why I kind of love the dynamic between the two of us, is because you create all these really great ideas and I have the ability to execute. So the GPT should help you execute the high level stuff that we're talking about.
So you're saying basically without me, your existence would really not be necessary at all.
I'm pretty sure it's the other way around.
Is that the way it works?
Yeah. So how many operators with a bad idea make money?
Yeah.
All of them. How many visionaries without an operator make money?
Okay.
None of them.
So we're moving on. So,
okay, there we go. Figured you'd want to do that.
Yeah. So you might say, well, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, guess what? It's a lot of work. Shit happens, right? That it's a lot of work. But today,
let's back up for a moment, though. It's a lot of work in the beginning. You're talking about being able to make what
you're building
you
a
earn.
Machine.
Right. You're building a future. Instead of building yourself a job, you're building yourself a business. Instead of building yourself a constant means to no end, you're building yourself a future. So in 12 months, you can take a month off and then come back and repeat.
You'll be a leader versus an also ran.
Right.
So you see a lot of people, I've been around this business for 123 years.
More.
No, I've been kind of at the top of this game for almost 20 years now, right? And
20?
Yeah, about 20 years.
Are you sure about that?
Close enough.
Uh-huh.
And I've watched, I mean, literally hundreds, if not thousands of people come in. They got a product. They made a product. They sold it one way.
My math says 38. My math says 38 years.
It's not 38 years, but they sold it one way. I was in retail before
You
that.
were in the
Manufacturing.
still marketing.
Yeah, it is
still
marketing.
business.
Yeah.
You still had businesses at 24 years old that made more than
It's
the
been
average.
longer than that. It's been, if you count it that way, it's been 43 years.
Okay, my math always
I've never had a
sucks.
job.
Okay,
Right.
never. But
she's the ops lady with bad math. It's wonderful, but she remembers every number ever. It's 43.7%. I know, I remember because I just made it up. It's easier to remember if you make that shit up. Okay, so AI, RPA, and outsourcing. You need to write those things down. I'm not going to go into them on this talk, but artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, and outsourcing will allow you to scale and do all of these things you want to do. And you can do a year's worth of work in a month. One of the big secrets to getting to a year and a month is being able to do a year's worth of work in a month, right? If you leverage AI, robotic process automation, and outsourcing, it's quite easy to do what one person could do in a year in a month. Right. With good direction. And I will give Emma, I try not to give Emma props, but I will give Emma props. She manages outsourced teams better than anybody I've known. I've been able to create really good AI tools for us to use. And we've got some friends that are great with robotic process automation that help us in that space. And we're now writing a lot of our own software tools. I was trying to figure out how to do something yesterday. I looked for a software tool for an hour and a half and I couldn't find one. And I said, I wonder if I can just write one. And I went over to AI software tool and wrote the software in less than a minute. It was just insane. And it worked like a champ the very first time. Most of them don't work right out of the gate. This one worked right out of the gate. But building a business that has a community business that has monthly recurring revenue is super, super smart. If you're building this machine and you're going to all this trouble, you don't want to really build the machine to sell somebody something one time. You want to try to build them. You can't always, not everything fits continuity. Not everything fits recurring revenue. Some things is really stupid. If I tell you I'm going to solve a big problem in your life, instantly just sign up for my membership. That's stupid, right? That doesn't fit. So you want to work in these markets where you can have monthly recurring revenue. That'll ensure that this growth that you have sticks around. Because if you're playing whack-a-mole, you're delivering a shit product, you're going to go to all this effort and all this work just to churn people through. And it really doesn't help you at the end of the day. It's like we have a mastermind group called the Ignite Mastermind Group. This is for people from 0 to $1 million. And I really love this group because there'd never been a mastermind group before really that was designed for people that made less than $1 million. Most of them are designed for people doing, like our big group Driven, doing an average of $7 or $10 million a year.
Well, I don't think most masterminds care how much you make. Just can you give them the money?
I disagree. I think most of them have some level of ethics with that.
I don't know. I've seen so many of them have ease payments where
I would never do. I would never do.
They offer people a 3-year loan for someone to join their mastermind.
That's just crazy.
And it's becoming more and more. But not to get off track, but Driven.
But Driven's an interesting thing because it's not very expensive to be a member, and we continue to add more and more and more to it. And everybody's like, then you should sell them this, and then you should sell them that, and then you should sell them this, and then you should sell them that. We don't charge anything extra for anything that we add.
Ever.
New software, it's not extra.
Ever.
Nothing.
Ever.
Nothing is ever. And I took that from there's the greatest continuity program in the world, arguably. Anybody can argue if wants to. There are really two. Would be Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime is,
and Costco. And Costco never charges more. Amazon Prime never charges more, but they continue to heap more and more benefits into that membership. And if you do that,
their price point may go up, but they don't charge more for the different benefits. Let's clarify that because Amazon Prime has gone up quite a bit in the past few years.
$5 in
No, it's almost doubled in 5 years, but it's far worth it. So they do go up in price, but they're not charging you. They're not nickeling and diming you for everything they add.
It's like
they're appropriately growing as they grow.
I like all-inclusive resorts. I'd rather write the check once and
go. Me too.
Because I don't want to be.
The anxiety of did I drink too much? Am I ordering too many?
If I have a $42 cocktail, it's just going to piss me off, right?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
tomorrow, because that $42 cocktail with you usually turns into 4 or 5.
I'd rather just cook it into the books. And,
right.
And I've also found these communities really ascend nicely, because if you're selling people into a community, it's just like buying a house. If you buy a house, the first house you buy is probably not in the neighborhood that you really, really want to be in, but you're a home buyer. Now you're in a community. Well, what do you want next? I want to be in a better neighborhood. I want to be in a bigger house. What do you want after that? I want to be in a better neighborhood still and in a bigger house still. So you don't have to work so hard to ascend people community to community. So if you'll do these few things, I mean, it's quite easy to build your monthly income to be the equivalent of what your yearly income is now. It's actually
takes work, thought, and strategy, but it
kind of
is
mathematically certain.
Once you get into it, once you start doing it,
Right.
once you put the pieces together, it's really easy. And once you do it the first time, to turn those 2s into 3s get easier, to turn the 3s into 4s get easier, the 5s get easier. I mean, it really, it's a phenomenal thought process, and I don't know why it didn't live anywhere but your brain.
Well, because it's amazing. I got a guy that used to work for me. He's a great guy. It's in the industry. I won't say his name, but he's a good guy. And he says he was at work for like 3 days, and I said, okay, we need to fire 23 people. And 3 days in, he had to fire 23 people. He never fired anybody in his life. And he said, that's this thing. He says, how it's just like having sex. You're real nervous about it the first time you do it, and then you're ready to go do it again.
Fire people?
he
said that about firing people? Oh,
so when
Jesus.
you build businesses like this, though, you're building money factories, for lack of a better term.
No, you're printing money, 100%.
You're building money machines.
You're printing money. You've already done all the work.
And people are like, well, my business won't work like that. It's because you haven't built the parts of the machine. You've got a factory and assembly line that only has 2 steps in a 6-step process. Right.
Well, the other side of it too is like some people are going to be put off by the communities. I think everything should have a community. Personally, I think
we're moving into the era of communities for sure now.
People and it doesn't matter what your business is. You can absolutely have a community for it.
100%.
But I think some people are going to say, "Well, I can't have a community for my pet supplement," which of course you can. But
100% you can.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because take the 6 boxes.
But the GPT will help you figure that out. Just put in what your business is, and the GPT will tell you how.
My point is, if one of them turns you off, don't worry about it. If that isn't what you want to do with your business, don't do it. Take that one and put it in a different box. Yeah. Add another geo, add another traffic source, add another product, right? So that's just the point is you can move things around and conform to what you have the ability, what turns you on, and what resources you have to allocate.
100%. Well, amazing. Shit, we got through it. What do you know?
I know.
We didn't fist fight. You didn't throw anything at me.
Well, that's going to happen as soon as the cameras go on.
You didn't throw anything at me. It's pretty cool.
I don't usually throw things at you.
You've thrown things at me before.
No.
Yes, you have. You threw something at me a couple of days ago here in your house. I forget what it was.
Prove it.
I forget what it was. Yeah, no, I don't have evidence. I should have filmed it for evidence for the police. Yeah.
So it doesn't exist. All right, go to
tell them where to go.
Go to www.trainwreckshow.com.
/1 year.
Nope, that wasn't where I was going with that. Go to www.trainwreckshow.com.
Emma is a screaming. No, is that not where you were going?
Subscribe to the podcast where you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible,
on the
all the things, or on YouTube
in the interwebs,
and then you'll actually get to see us fighting and flipping each other off during the show if you do it on YouTube. But go there or do /
people listening right now don't realize we do the show in the nude.
You don't think so?
I don't think they realize it.
I mean, they have to.
If they've not seen the video, how would they know?
Right? How would they know?
That's true. Go to YouTube. You might be surprised.
Yeah.
It's like a baby's arm holding an apple.
Anyway, see you on the other side. Like a baby's arm holding an apple.
See you next time on the train wreck.
See you next time.
What? I'll see you next Thursday.
Time is the same thing.